IGBO Group to sue Lagos State Govt over Yoruba Only language policy. This has been making reactions and counter reactions and the rest of them. There is an important thing we have to pick out here. State-owned schools. This is their argument. They are not against the Yoruba language because Lagos is Yoruba language, it's a Yoruba region, and the government has a right to use Yoruba as a teaching instrument or medium of communication. Of course, this has been happening ever since. Nobody countered it. And again, this is also important to note that prior to these times, there have been opportunity for other major languages such as Igbo and Hausa to be taught in state-owned schools. But now with this policy in action by the Lagos State Govt, those who are teaching this lingua or these languages will lose their jobs. Imagine losing your job as an Igbo teacher or instructor in an Hausa language instructor in the entire Lagos state-owned schools. Do you understand the implication? So for them advocating or trying to challenge government position regarding this by implementing a policy where only Yoruba only language policy will be adopted, which means every other policy, perhaps including French, will not be taught. That is the implication if I start to be corrected. Because when you say Yoruba only language policy, means that is the only language allowed to communicate to the children or whosoever is instructing the children, or a means of relating instructions and the rest of them. You see, there is exception to every rule. Some persons have argued, why is it not the same way? Of course, in Igbo predominant states, they're also using Igbo as a language, or adopting Igbo or making Igbo compulsory. There are optionals. Language should be considered as electives, as optionals, not compulsive, as far as my opinion is concerned. You know why? Even today, the Chinese government are learning how to speak Igbo, learning how to speak Hausa and the rest of them. Now, if foreigners are interested in our major languages, what should we place a limitation? What should we like to politicize everything, making it a subject of discourse as a distraction? For me, I saw this as a clear distraction from the main important issues confronting us as a people. Especially in Lagos State, there are more important issues that attention should be paid to, honestly, than this language issue. Well, the Lagos State-owned states can adopt whatever means of communicating to their people if they consider that as the best way of passing their informations and the rest of them. Nobody stops them from doing that. We're trying to stop other people if they have been teaching other languages in the Lagos State-owned schools. Stopping them at this time is not in the best interest of Lagos. Lagos is being considered as a multilingual state, and reason being that what you have started before, does it mean that other languages or ethnic nationalities, especially three major languages, Hausa, Igbo, are now dominating over? No. If I'm in Lagos State schools, I will also want to seize the opportunity to learn how to speak Yoruba language. It's an added advantage. A Yoruba person might decide to say, okay, I'm already conversant with the Yoruba language. Let me use the opportunity to learn Igbo language. Even in Lagos State, you may say, okay, let me use the opportunity to learn Hausa language because it's an opportunity. It's a multilingual state. So the government should not in any way try to politicize this because it gives people opportunities. Like, for instance, some Yorubas don't usually travel. Now, you have conversant with the Yoruba language, no doubt about it. It provides opportunity for you to learn other people's culture, other people's language. And that is an adventure that anyone who is liberal, who understands what it means, that you'll be proud to say, oh, I can speak your now, I can speak Hausa because I had such opportunity. I may not be fluent in Yoruba, but if I have opportunity of learning it more, it is an advantage. So that shouldn't be any need for argument regarding this development. What these women, the Igbo Women Assembly, were advocating for, it is not to challenge the Lagos State position that, okay, from henceforth, we are going to abolish or discard any other language within the Lagos State. We are only to adopt Yoruba language as the only language. What they are asking is that they should consider the multilingual, of course, culture within Lagos State. And being that there are people who perhaps has been employed to teach other languages in these states' own schools, what will be their fate and what will be the implication of this? It is very important. I think we should be evolving as humans. Some persons might say, okay, Imo State and the rest of them. There's nothing wrong in Imo State if we have Yoruba teacher, Hausa teacher. There's nothing wrong in the North Kano State if you have Yoruba teacher, Igbo teacher. Of course, I understood that I have taught in several, of course, schools within Lagos State. Yes, there are, private-owned schools, not Lagos State-owned schools. They teach Igbo as an elective language, so people who are interested can learn. Some teach Hausa language and the rest of them. So people are allowed to express their liberty. You see, we can't be gagging everything, gagging people, sowing seed of sentiments and discourse at every slightest opportunity. For me, it is distractional, and it's a distractional tool deployed to engage people and distract them from what is reality, what is on ground now. How do the government provide leadership? How can the government provide sense of responsibility and live up to her responsibility? There are vacuums, there are gaps that needed to be filled in our leadership positions, which we are not seeing. Where is that democracy? Where is that direction, leadership direction that needed to be communicated to the people? Whether you use Yoruba, English, Hausa, or the rest of them, it's important we get to know this. Now, let's listen to the argument here. He said the Igbo Women Assembly has strongly opposed the Lagos State government's decision to make Yoruba the only language taught in state-owned schools. The group deeply concerned about the exclusion of other indigenous languages has threatened to take legal actions against the policy. Now, speaking at a press briefing in Umuahia, the Igbo Women Assembly's national president, Nneka Chimezie, expressed disappointment, emphasizing that Lagos is a home of people from different ethnic backgrounds. This is not right. Lagos is a multicultural city with people from various parts of Nigeria. Why should only Yoruba be taught? Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba should all be included, she said. While commending the Yoruba people for their commitment to preserving their language, you see, she is not against that. She urged the Igbo community to be more proactive in safeguarding theirs. She announced that the Igbo Women Assembly, would host an event in Umuahia on February 21 to mark, the United Nations International Mother Language Day. You see, coming on the 21st of this month. The event will bring together influential Igbo sons and daughters to discuss ways to promote and sustain Igbo language. Well, this is her position. So she was not against the Yorubas preserving their own language and culture. No, from her point of argument, it is politically correct that Lagos, being a multilingual state, multicultural state, should take advantage of that to embrace other people's culture, language. What it's about is a mere distractions, and this they have not even sued. They express their willingness, their dissatisfaction that they are going to sue, and now it is hitting the social media. Everywhere is shouting, why should the Igbo challenge the Yoruba land? Why should all these things? You see some even Igbo, gullible Igbo people making silly statements. Go deeper into the context, of course, and within the context of the discussion, what the woman or the group was expressing is not wrong. It's not wrong. It should be an advantage. Today, the foreigners, the Western world, the Chinese government are paying heavily to carry out research in indigenous languages of the Igbo and their culture, to get some secrets, some wisdom inherent in certain activities and operations, the way they conduct themselves, the way they act at a certain way, at certain time, and the rest of them. They are buying our cultures. We are fighting our own culture. They're trying to explore the opportunities inherent within the African culture, within Yoruba, Hausa. They are paying some professors, some, of course, graduates of languages and culture, art and culture, or whatever it is. They are paying them, sponsoring them to go to China, to go to London, America, to study, to tell them about, to relate to them the wisdom, the culture of the indigenous languages. But today, people, even the Igbo, the Yorubas, are fighting. Oh, these are needless fights. All these are mere distractions. They are trying to distract people so that they will not ask the important question. There are more important questions to ask, such like in Lagos today. Why is it some Yorubas do not want to give house to Igbos? These are important questions that should be asked. And you claim that in brotherhood we stand. Why are they selected? This is not just the Igbos. Some Yorubas does not want to give land to, to rent their houses or properties to the same Yoruba from Ekiti. They will say this one is from Ekiti. This one is from Ondo. You can imagine. It is not just happening to the Igbos, but to the Yoruba themselves, are trying to divide us in order to take advantage of our ignorance. Let's ask them important questions. What are you doing to improve the living standard? What are you doing to make life more acceptable, enjoyable, and worth living for the people? That is the most important questions that we should seize this opportunity to ask them. They are throwing certain things to us while we are grappling with them. They keep on doing what they believe it is in their best interest, not in the collective interest of all and sundry, especially as it bothers the masses' welfare and security. So these are important questions we must throw to them. They are important questions to ask. and not this mere distraction.